It's Bullseye. I'm Jesse Thorn. I think there's an idea that when rap gets into crime stories, they're these gleeful, amoral free-for-alls. That best case scenario, they're sort of Goodfellas type fantasies. Worst case, they're some kind of direct endorsement of selling drugs and killing. But many of the best gangster rappers have a different quality. My guest Vince Staples is one. He seems to look at the fear and violence as a painful fact of life. When he raps about the street, there's a sort of lonely, regretful quality. His plain, incisive style has made him a rising star in hip-hop, and he's outshined tons of amazing peers repeatedly in guest verses. Vince Staples has a new mixtape, Shine Cold Chain 2, and he just came off a tour with the hitmaker Schoolboy Q. Here's a bit of the record's opening track.
It's empty plates in his estate, so shawty should where he eat. He got a clip, he got a K, he bout to light up the street. They catch him slipping, now they tripping, knock him right off his feet. His mama crying on the news like a boy was so small. Wish he never started chilling with the niggas at the park. Been swimming with the sharks since the kiddie pool. Breaking all the written rules, breaking the tradition of that inner city. Raising fools or raising in the sun. They let the monkey out the cage, he got a gun. He got a book, he got a brain, you better run. Was the one that they shunned. Baptized in the tears of the slaves as a young. A penny saved is a penny earned. So I'll be stacking up this copper as the city burn. Cold chain.
Vince Staples, welcome to Bullseye. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So this mixtape and your first mixtape, I gather, were named after two rappers who were a generation before you, or 10 years before you. Shine and Roscoe P. Coldchain.
Yeah, well, I mean, Roscoe P. Coldchain was like what I was like when I was in like 7th, 8th grade. So at least when he went to jail, because I remember that like vividly, because he did something, very stupid.
Roscoe P. Coldchain was a rapper who was signed to the Neptune's label, Star Trek.
Yeah, and Neptune, like Star Trek was real big in Long Beach.
And he was exceptionally talented rapper. I mean, I loved him. One of my favorites, and ended up going to jail for attempted murder.
Yeah, I think it was 2 counts, two different people, same day.
Tell me about why you chose that name.
I mean, at the time, I was working with several people that were, I wasn't really working, that was the problem. I was like just around, and I had a couple things that had gained a little bit, on a small level, some sort of notoriety. So a lot of people were telling me to like try to work towards something and try to, better my situation or whatnot, really go for it, not just waste the time that I had, It was a little joke that I was going to make a mixtape and go to jail. So those were the two people that did that and went to jail, but it just kind of stuck.
Now, why was that funny? I
don't know. I had a skewed sense of humor. Still do, sort of, but, you grow up a little bit more and you notice some of the dumb stuff you did. But, I mean, it makes sense now as far as what the music is becoming.
I want to play a little bit of one of your earlier records from a couple of years ago called Vicodin.
Grandmother said we out of asthma medication, but get ready for school still, cause hell is waiting. If you don't learn shit, you won't be ish, and that would probably mean ish. If they try and teach kids during the class, got a heart made of gold, knuckles smothered in brass. The snakes lay where you play, so I stray from the grass. Mine already troubled enough, so don't confuse my poor actions for giving them. I show no love, parents didn't give me enough. It's too late now, I barely even like being touched. My girl stopped giving me hugs, says I don't see it that much, but I just prefer being alone because live for today.
When you say, it's too late now, I barely like being touched, that's a very dark thing to say on a record about yourself.
I mean, it's just honest, like, I'm like a tense person, so to say. From what I've gathered from other people, like, I'm one of those people that everyone always asks, like, what's wrong? It's like, I'm straight. But it's just, it's just learned behavior, so to say. Because I be chilling, like, everybody thinks I'm like, a lot of people, I see people say, like, oh, he's so depressed and sad, but, like, I'm never sad. Like, nothing could affect me that much. You learn to value different things in life after certain experiences. And I feel like if you hear and you eat every day, you have nothing to complain about. But it's, you come back from, Mac Miller told me yesterday, he said, certain people come back from Vietnam or like places like that, and the things that they've seen have affected them to the point that it changes the way that they carry themselves without them knowing.
There's a song called Nate on your new tape, and I wonder if you could tell me a little bit about what led you to write it.
Honestly, I just heard the beat, and that's just the first thing I came up with. To me, that song is like, it doesn't come from a bad place. It's not like a sad song. Like, that's just me growing up. Like, that beat sounds very like youthful and like happy, optimistic type thing. And when I think about my childhood, that's what I think about. Because no matter what, your parents are your first God. You know what I mean? So me seeing my dad mess up so much but still remain him kind of taught me that you can't change the person you are. You know what I mean? You can just try to change your circumstances. And it's kind of sad because my father was one of those people who could have done anything. Like, I've seen my dad be on full-scale drugs and not change. Do things that make people go crazy and not change. Like, still smile and laugh about it. So my dad kind of taught me, like, the value of life. That was right to me because they did what they had to do to take care of us. And I will always appreciate that. I will never look at that like it's a bad thing. I know domestic violence is wrong. I know crime is wrong. I know all these things. But you know what I mean? It's all perception. Reality is perception.
Let's hear a little bit of Vince Staples' song, Nate, from his new mixtape, Shine Cold Chain 2.
Around the city with the seats back. As a kid, all I wanted was 100 grand. Uncle counting money while my daddy cutting grams. Made me promise that wish it would never touch my hands. And it never did. Said it make me be a better man. Smoking in the crib, hiding dip inside of soda cans. Black bandana on his arm, needle in his hand. Mama trying to wake him up, young, so I ain't understand why she wouldn't let my daddy sleep. Used to see him stand out in the alley through my window, drinking in with his homies, blowing cig smoke. Lights flash, now we running from the winds lows. Hear him screaming for my mama at the back door. Sometimes she wouldn't open it, sitting on the couch, face emotionless. I don't think they ever noticed that I noticed it. As a kid, all I wanted was 100 grand.
The part that really gets me about that verse, and that's the second verse of a 3-verse song, that ends with your dad ODing. But the part that really gets me about that verse is the part about you not knowing if your parents ever noticed that you noticed. And you sitting on the couch expressionless.
My parents had to take care of themselves when I was younger. Like, I always had everything I needed. Like, I always had shoes, clothes, whatever. I had PlayStation 1 through 4. I had every Xbox. I had everything I could ever want that they sacrificed for. But I don't think a lot of parents, especially when they have kids young. My mom had her first kid when she was 15 years old. So she had to raise my sister while she was raising herself. And then she had my sister and my other brother. And then she had me. And I was the last one. They were a little bit more settled. They knew how to, like, raise a kid, so to say. They knew what was needed. But then they lacked the time that was needed because they have 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? My sister and
your mom was working as well. And
Exactly. My first sister has a different dad. Her dad died. So before my dad really got into like a lot of heavy problems that he was dealing with himself, he raised my sister very well. Like, my sister's dad died when she was like 5 or 6 years old, I would try to think. So my dad took care of her. He used to walk her to school, all that stuff. And my sister got the best part of that. And then I spent a lot of time with my grandparents because my parents had to work so much and my dad was getting in and out of trouble. When my mom was pregnant when I was born, my dad was in jail. So when he got out, it was like he tried to stay as kind of off to the distance as he always has, because my dad never wanted to be my role model or my hero. He never wanted to be that. He just wanted to take care of me. If I needed something, he wanted me to call him. Like, when him and my mom split up, like, it was never, hey, let's go do something. It's like, if you need something, call me. Because other than that, I'm not a necessary part of your life. At least that's how I looked at it. And I appreciate my dad for that, because he is not a role model. He's not someone that should be someone's hero. But he tried his hardest to do what he could for us.
It's Bullseye. I'm Jesse Thorn. My guest is the rapper Vince Staples. He's 20 years old now, and he only kind of fell into rapping a couple years ago. He's quickly become a hot property, collaborating with Mac Miller and becoming a sort of satellite affiliate of the group Odd Future. Vince Staples' fourth mixtape is called Shine Cold Chain, Volume 2. When you were 10, 12 years old, what did the gangs in your neighborhood mean to you?
Nothing. They were just cool. It's like, and then when you get to like 6th, 7th grade, then you start to know like what's what. But before that, it was like, oh, like, it's just funny. Like, oh, they're crazy. They're fun. It's like a movie. It's not real. Because when you're younger, nothing's serious, no matter what it is. And they just have fun all day or whatever like that. And you don't know when somebody dies. They just go away because you're not close to them. You're not at a close distance with them. The first real gang type thing I've ever seen as far as close was when my cousin got shot in his face. He got shot in his mouth, and then I saw like my family like one by one, like the different ones, like not the ones that weren't like my mom, the ones that didn't go to church. I saw them leaving the house and coming back and talking to each other, and I'm like, they're doing something that they're not telling everyone, and that's interesting.
How old were you?
I was 10, turning 11. And in my head, I'm just looking like, I wonder what they're doing. Everybody wears black. Everybody has the same tattoos. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like, you notice things like that, but you don't think anything of it. And then my grandfather dies. And then I go to his funeral and I see, okay, this is what they were doing. And obviously, that's not what he's doing anymore. It was different when he was younger. But as that being your hero, you're like, all right, this is what I'm going to do because this is what my family does. The same way if your dad's a doctor, you're going to want to be a doctor most likely. If your dad fixes cars, you're going to end up fixing cars. It's the same thing, but we don't have any of that where I come from. And it's by choice because a lot of people just choose to not go that route.
When did you get jumped into a gang?
It depends. We were from cliques when we were younger. So I was like 12, 13 years old. It didn't get serious until one of my friends died, like 15, 16.
So what was the difference?
At first, it was for fun. Like, oh, look, let's have something to put on MySpace. You wear the same hat, you go talk to girls. It wasn't like, we wasn't gang, it was from a clique called Flirts. And then it was cliques Flirts, Flip, and Squad Up. And it was some girl, like, it was like acronyms and whatnot. That was what we were doing. And
what did Flirt stand for?
Flirt stood for ladies in really tight skirts. Flip stood for love, I'm pimping. It was a clique that meant taking. That's what we were doing when we were younger. Having meetings, like, it's developed after a gang structure. And the leaders
what I'm imagining at the meeting of the Flirts right now is like, first order of business, we got to catch them all.
Yeah, right. We were just fighting. He doesn't like him fight. That's all it was. And talking about like kicking people out for not being as cool as the other people. But it was all for fun.
So when did that change?
One of my friends, Jabari Benton, got killed when we was 15. And then
what were the circumstances?
He got shot. He got shot by 2 people because he was a YA baby. So he had
YA's Youth Authority.
Yeah, he had jumped around a couple times, going to LP and Y and stuff like that. He had jumped around a couple times, picking his trying to figure out where you want to be, which everybody does when they was younger. The place I'm from now is not the first place I was saying I was from, and that's the case for a lot of people. I don't care what they say. I know a few people that was like day one wherever they was at, and that's rare, especially in Long Beach because everybody knows each other. So it's like whoever you start hanging out with now, them is your homies. But yeah, somebody didn't really like how that went down and the stuff he was doing. He ended up losing his life. And then to us, it was like, okay, this shouldn't be happening. We too young for this. That's the first thing that happened. And then he died and nobody do nothing. So we like, why do we look up to you? Because you obviously don't care. And I was like, okay, we about to do our own thing. And that's when it really got bad because you don't have nobody to tell you no. And it was nobody that could tell us no.
Did you have to engage with, in your own mind, with the morality of it, whatever it was? I mean, I
honestly never cared.
I'm guessing that you don't want to talk about specifics of what went down, but
I get what you're saying, but I honestly never really cared.
Why not?
You sign up as a field trip. You can't be mad now. You should have never did it in the first place. And I'm luckily not from a place that's just going to be like, oh, yeah, come on, everybody. You got to wait. You got to be from the hood for years before you official. It's people that never got put on that's from the hood because they don't have to because they've been here since they was 8 years old, 9 years old. It's people that's been there for 4 years, and then they get official after they do something crazy just because, you feel me, you got to prove yourself. But I never felt bad because it's like ain't nobody random, and you obviously did something. If something happened, if you get punched on or something like that, you did something. It's never going to be random, and everybody know each other. Long Beach too small. Everybody knows each other.
What made you feel like when you were 15, 16, 17 years old, when you started rapping, what made you feel like maybe you were actually talented at it? Other
people telling me so. I only started making music because the people around me was doing it, and I wasn't trying to hang out with my friends. I was getting in trouble just for the simple fact it was hard on my mom. So it was like the homies are always gonna be the homies, but you can't do that all day, every day. I don't care who you are, unless you full blown crazy. You can't. It doesn't feel right. So I always tell people I got lucky, because I can honestly say that I just stopped getting into stupid. I feel like me making music was an opportunity I had. Like, no matter if you believe in God or any of that stuff, everything happens for a reason, and it depends on what you do with that opportunity. And I feel like, thankfully to the people around me, I was able to use this opportunity to the best of my abilities.
I want to play another one of your relatively early songs. Let's hear a little bit of my guest Vince Staples in a song called Versace Rap.
Never had belief in Christ, cause in the pictures he was white. Same color as the judge they gave my hood. Repeated life sentences for little ish. Church, I wasn't feeling it. Why the preacher charged to tell us everything will be alright? Knew what it was for, still I felt that it was wrong. Till I heard Chef call himself God in the song. And it all makes sense, cause we can't do this. But look inside the mirror once it all goes wrong. You fix your own problems, tame your own conscience. All that holy water, this shit's nothing short of nonsense. Not denying Christ, I'm just denying the options. Cause prayer never moved my grandmama out of Compton. I pray for
Your records, I mean, you are a genial guy. And I've read you talk about, like, one of the reasons you got into rapping was because your friends were like, hey, you're like an outgoing, funny guy.
Oh, yeah, Sid and Mike and used to say, just be funny. Because I never knew what to rap about. The Versace Rap was literally my first song that I really sat down and tried to write. Everything else before that is like, what do you want me to rap about?
So what moved you? I mean, if I was going to say in my head, like what your content reminds me of, it's somebody like Scarface or something, someone who raps about the street in a way that's sort of deeply acknowledges the sad side of it, which is not that common. I mean, it happens, but and sometimes you just are clever about talking about whatever, having a gun or whatever, but mostly it's that emotional part. And I wonder what motivates you to write.
I mean, I've been there, like, in all disrespect intended, like, a lot of rappers are liars. It's to the point that you've been rapping for 10 years and you're 23 years old. So what did you ever do? Because you can start early. You can start very early, but it's like you've been selling cocaine and getting $20,000 per shipment, and that's most people's recording budget nowadays. Why are you rapping? And then it comes to the point that it's obvious that you're lying. You can't be hard 24/7. It's not fun. It's not cool. You just look corny because that's how you die. Those are the ones that die. If all you about is the bull, you're gonna get killed, and it's common knowledge. Everybody knows it if you ever been there, and it's not fun. You're not gonna make any money. It's not. You don't make money gangbanging. That's not what it's about. Your friends are gonna die. You're gonna get in and out of jail. It's not a fun place to be, and it never will be, as far as anymore. Like, my little brother just got 15 years. He just turned 18 and he got a 2-year-old baby. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing cool about that. It's not fun. Like, one of my homies just got 6 years for attempted murder, and we was happy. Because you get 25 for socking it. You getting 15 for punching somebody and taking something from them. A lot of things that make people want to overcome is an enemy. You need an enemy. In the 60s and 70s, it was white people. In your head, it's like white people are holding us back. We need to overcome that. We want what they got. That doesn't exist no more. And it does in a certain sense, but like the white man, it doesn't stand for someone's race. It's like in a lot of people's minds, that's the rich. And I really hate that about rap music. Because it's like, why the you telling this kid he about to have a good time? Because when I was in 4th grade, 50 Cent came out. So this is what it is. And then Game came out. And this is what it is. You get what I'm saying? So we live in that. We seeing that. We hearing little things that we seeing every day. I didn't know my dad was on real drugs until I got older. But if I would have had music talking about and all this other things, I would have knew when I was 8, 9 years old that that's what he was doing. So I feel like it's no reason to highlight the streets, and it's a beautiful thing to grow up in that environment. When you leave it, Like I was talking to Schoolboy Q about it, like just trying to get some advice, like, cause that's like I know him, a lot of them TDE dudes helped me out a lot. So I was asking him, like, how do you get over it? Like, how do you just get past it? He was like, you're not going to. Cause I feel like I do wrong when I hit my homies up, like, hey, what's up? Where you at? Making sure everybody cool. Like, I feel like that's not my job, but in reality it is, because that's the reason. That's what it's for. It's never been about killing and wearing certain hats and living over. It's about taking care of the people that you care about, because nobody else gonna take care of us. And the second that got lost is the second that anybody could die.
Do you think your people are proud of you?
Of course. Isn't my little brother is in prison bragging about me. He write me all the time. Hey, I was walking down Whoop Whoop and they was playing your song and not.
Are you proud?
I'm very proud of where I'm from.
No, proud of what you've done.
I don't feel like I've done anything yet.
Proud of your work?
I'm able to take care of my mother, so I'm proud of that. My music not really where I think it should be yet. It's getting there though. But I mean, I feel like I got a lot to do. I'm not a satisfied individual when it comes to a lot of things, because I know what it should be, and it's not there yet. But I'm working. This is for the first time in my life I can actually say I'm really working towards something since I was in 4th grade, thinking I was gonna go to the NBA, and I was at the park. Like, as of now, as of this cycle of music that I'm doing right now, I feel like I'm really working towards something.
Well, Vince Staples, I really appreciate you taking the time to be on Bullseye. It was really great to get to talk to you.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Rapper Vince Staples' 4th mixtape is called Shine Cold Chain, Volume 2.